Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some wingman fantasy football. Yeah! Welcome in to another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the league podcast. I am your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 81, week 16, ins and outs, and before we get any further along, let's make sure that everybody is in the room.
Wingmen assemble!
All right, before we get even any further along, I'm going to try and be a little more engaging with the chat room today. So I see Mr. Team B is in the chat room. Hello to you, sir, and Merry Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas Eve. So it's good to see you here. I see you've been very active in your consolation bracket, and we all appreciate your energy and effort. All right. Also, guys, this weekend show, we are going to go over some tips and tricks. We're going to have our first live Q&A, so get those questions in the chat. And this is a huge playoff week as we have the big boy bracket, the semifinals, and a chance to earn a payout.
Wingman Fantasy Football Big Boy Bracket. Who's a big boy?
All right. Who is a big boy? Michelle is in the chat. Thank you so much for being in the chat room today, Michelle. I appreciate it. All right, guys, before we find out any of our tips and tricks and get into our Q&A, let's find out who's in or out, who's hurt or not in this week's Actives Inactives. All right, we're going to start off with our IR list as Keaton Mitchell did suffer a torn ACL, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. As for players that are out today, we have Brian Robinson from the Commanders is out today for the third straight game. Jerick McKinnon, sorry, Team B, your end-of-the-season superstar, Jerick McKinnon is out today, leaving the backfield all alone to Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Chiefs. Christian Watson and Jaden Reed for the Green Bay Packers are both going to be out today, as is C.J. Stroud from the Houston, the star rookie quarterback, C.J. Superstar, and he's going to miss today's game. We have Zach Moss is not going to play today. Another one of Team B's prize acquisitions this season is not going to play, making way for Jonathan Taylor to have the entire backfield to himself, potentially coming off his thumb injury. Ramondre Stevenson is not going to play today. Marquise Brown is not going to play today. And an early Christmas present for Patrick Mahomes, Kadarius Toney and Mecole Hardman are both going to miss the game on Christmas. That means there'll be no receivers out there to drop any passes. Should be a heavy targeted day for Kelsey and Rashee Rice. Will Levis, the Banana Man, is going to sit today, making way for Ryan Tannehill to get the start, while Michael Pittman for Indianapolis is also going to be out today. Michael Mayer, Las Vegas tight end, is going to be out on Monday, and Zach Wilson is out today for the Jets. Zay Jones is actually not going to play today for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before we get into our questionables, I want to say thank you to Mr. Team B for the compliment on the graphics. I spend way too much time working on dumb things, but I appreciate the acknowledgement and compliment. All right, I only have one player in our questionable tag spot today, and that is a big-time player. Tyreek Hill is questionable going towards the 425 game today. It looks like he's trending towards playing, but they're going to definitely want to give him a pregame workout to see how he does. So unfortunately, I can't tell you for sure if he's in or out yet, but just go ahead and check our website, wingmanentertainment.net/game day to get the most updated inactive list. All right. Now let's get to some players that are going to be in today. A.J. Dillon is going to play today for the Green Bay Packers. Nico Collins is back for Houston. Geno Smith is off of the injury report and going to make the start for the Seattle Seahawks. Devon the Man Achane is getting back in the lineup with no restrictions as he is healthy and going to play today. Trevor Lawrence is going to play. He cleared the concussion protocol, but he still has a slight ankle sprain, but he will be in. And Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is back and just in the nick of time. And Kenneth Walker, Texas Ranger, is going to be in the lineup for Seattle. And Alexander Madison is going to be active today, crowding the backfield for Ty Chandler and the Minnesota Vikings. So that's it for all of our ins and outs. All right, guys, let's get into a Christmas Day tip or trick. Tips and tricks.
Or quirks for jerks.
If you watched our last episode, which was posted very early this morning, so I don't expect that you did, we talked about whether it was cool or not cool to add and drop players to prevent opponents from picking up players. And I say, yes, it is. And here's the tip or trick in regarding that. Give me 1/2 second here. Pardon me. So as far as I know in the Yahoo rules, and if you pick up a player and drop them the same day, they go right back to the free agent list. So that prevents us from doing mass ad drops just to make players fall into the waiver rules. But if you pick up a player and hold them overnight and then drop them the following day, they will go into the waiver rules. So if you time your pickups just right and drop them at the right time, you can prevent your opponents from picking up some players. For example, I did that twice this week. I picked up Gabe Davis on a Thursday, and then I dropped him. I could have dropped him Friday because his game was Saturday, but I dropped him Saturday morning before his game, making him ineligible to be picked up by any other manager. And now he'll be on waivers now till Tuesday because his game has passed. And then I picked up Evan Ingram, who's playing on Sunday. And then on Sunday morning, I dropped Evan Ingram, and now he is going to be on waivers until Tuesday. And I splurged to pick up the San Francisco defense. So I picked up 3 players, keeping them away from potential opponents. And I did so by keeping them for the a lot of time that would make them waiver eligible. And so you might not like it, but time is passing. There's not that you can't pick up 5 guys and drop them in 5 minutes. You have to hold them for 18 to 30 hours. And in that time, if someone else doesn't jump on the next player you're going to pick up and drop, well, that's on them to be a little more proactive. All right, now it's time to get into our Q&A, and we have our first Q&A here, sit or start. Do you have any specific kind of questions or games you're looking at? Because I don't have that ready up. I don't have the rosters up. Elliott or Ridley? Oh, that's a tough question. So we have Elliott's playing against the Denver Broncos on Sunday night. And, of course, overall for the season, that is a plus matchup. But the Broncos have been getting a little better, although they've been relapsing lately. And then, but he has Calvin Ridley, who is playing against Tampa Bay. I think that's a 1:00 game. That is is that a 1:00 game? Give me 1/2 second. Jacksonville. That might be a 4:00 game. Give me 1/2 second. Sorry about the little delay here. Just want to double check. HIJK. Yeah, I guess Jacksonville's 4:00. Thank you very much, Bernie. Yeah, so 4:00. So you have a little time to think about it. Ridley's also has a very plus matchup against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is getting a little healthier. That is tough. That is a tough call. So obviously the answer here would be boom bust is Ridley, and medium floor, low ceiling is Elliott. So it depends on what you need. Right now you are playing in the consolation bracket. And I'm not sure who you're playing up against, but you're not playing against Tampa Brady, so you do not have an automatic bye this week. So you do have to decide. I would play Ridley because there's no Zay Jones today, although he actually plays better with Zay Jones on the field. But there's no Zay Jones, there's no Kirk. He is the number 1 man in a plus matchup. So I think I'd actually go with Calvin Risky. And I'm glad you asked these questions because, I'll get into it a little bit later. Our next question, another start sit, is Sanders versus Koo. So we've got Sanders against the Dallas Cowboys at 4:00, and Atlanta is playing against Indianapolis at 1:00, I believe. Yes, at 1:00. Well, Koo is one of the best kickers in the league, right? At least percentage-wise. He's actually better than Justin Tucker now. He passed him this year with his kicks. Indianapolis, generally, their games are high scoring. They score at least 21 points in all but one game this year. So the Falcons are going to have to keep up. The Falcons are at home, and with a team that's as bad as the Falcons, you want as many advantages as possible. Sanders is playing in Miami, so weather shouldn't be a factor, but Koo is inside. If I had to pick, I would say Koo, but either one, those are tough choices. I think those are both good choices. These are tough ones, Bernie. You put me on the spot right away. Both these guys are pretty even in your start-sit questions. We have we've got a comment here from Michelle. She's noticed that a lot of sound bites that she's wondering if there's any copyright policy issues yet. And surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly, last night's episode, I got my very first copyright notice. If you watched it right away, it's still in there since you've seen the infraction. Since then, I've taken out the song. So I've been thinking about for a while with Paul's Kubert Rage, how he has his trio of bills. I put in Destiny's Child songs of bills, bills, bills after that. And not an hour later, Columbia Music said, you cannot use Beyonce's song without her permission. So I had to take it out. It's no big deal. I'm not getting I'm not looking this to be monetized anyway. But yeah, so I did get a copyright notice for the first time this morning, and I've addressed it. Let's see what else. Oh, no problem on the start sit, Bernie. I know it wasn't much help, but if you're asking me, so to be clear, I would go Ridley and Koo, but I really don't think you can make a wrong choice in those choices. All right. Oh, Michelle's asking a question. What's your favorite reindeer? I've always been a fan of Dancer. Very good question. Well, after yesterday's Pittsburgh Steeler game, I know he's not an official reindeer, but we have to go with Rudolph, right? He was able to slay the Bengals, and he helped guide the Steelers to a monster victory to keep their playoff chances alive. Also, I want to mention to you guys, we are going to put up some poll questions in these YouTube videos, and you can answer in any one of them. I'm not going to put it down to anyone. We are going to try and have an end of the year award show for the Wingman Awards, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to put a little poll question, or maybe rank these your top 3 of these choices. I want to kind of see which sound bites and or intro graphic you like the best. So we're definitely going to put a little one of those and see. I've been working hard on those all year, and I want to see which ones you guys like, so I can either embellish them or get rid of the ones that are your least favorite. So I think NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. Oh man, that's a good question too. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. They actually can't sing, if you actually listen to them, they're the bloated brothers of NSYNC. Although I'm not really a huge fan of either. But if I had to choose, NSYNC would be the way to go on that one. This is getting personal, guys. This is a little nuts. I do have another question out there to our people that are out in the streaming world. Are any of you guys going to go to the Dallas-Miami game today? It's in Miami at 4:05 or 4:25, and it's going to be a huge game for the Dolphins. And I'm wondering if we have anyone in the chat who is going to that game today. Give you a few seconds here and see. I'm not even sure who's in the chat. I don't have everything loaded up here. I'm just trying to read the chat for the first time. All right. So Team B, while you're here, what is your most stressful game that you're looking at today? Yep, Ken should be going. He's got season tickets. I know Jimerson went to the last game, so he has a chance to be going. My brother-in-law, Mark, I don't know if he's out there or not, but he was saying that he's going to be going to that game today. So there should be a lot of people in that Dallas-Miami game, and that's a huge, fun game. Philly at New York. That's a tough game for me, too, because of who I'm playing in my matchup, as I have playing against Corey's Mac Daddy 2s, and he has both running backs in that Philly Giants game. And I personally am torn whether I want to play Brock Purdy and try and hedge off some of his Debo points, or go with the struggling Patrick Mahomes in a plus matchup without his receivers who can't catch the ball today. And if that Philly-New York game was on Sunday, that would help me out quite a bit in order to figure out what kind of direction I want to go with my starting lineup. But being that they're after the Kansas City game, I'm going to be stressing about this all night on which quarterback I'm going to put in my lineup. And like I said before, oh yes, if you saw my rant yesterday, that Christmas Day here is, it's going to be more stressful than normal because of these stupid games for the fantasy playoffs. And, Christmas is for Jesus, not for Roger Goodell. And so his greedy little hands got to stay out of the consumer holiday that Christmas has become. But of course, NFL is going to take as many days as they can. They got 5 days this week. I mean, give me a break. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up. I appreciate you all so very much for watching this. We're going to try and make these live streams a little more interactive going forward, so they're a little more special than the regular shows. So don't forget that you can find us, our audio feeds on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, and now YouTube Music. Just search Wingman the League for those audio feeds. And if you want our video feeds, go to youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. You can also go to wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. Go ahead and leave a comment or a question in any of those comment sections, and you can and you'll get those comments read in the next mailbag segment. Thank you very much for watching another live stream. I appreciate you all. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy New Year. We'll see you before the New Year comes out. Happy holidays to everyone else who might not be celebrating Christmas, but it's a joyous time of year for everybody. Time off, at least celebrate the time off from work. With that being said, guys, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time.